being like a victim of war crimes and not being able to like return to my home country is like so unfair. It's like being stuck in witness protection, but like the whole continent is off limits or something. Everyone's just like deal with it, but like when I really think about it, it's like super scary, you know? Like, how can people just expect me to like move on from something so traumatizing? It's like not easy at all. Constant fear and not knowing if I'll ever like feel safe again is like a whole other level of stress. It's like the world just expects me to like forget about everything and move forward, but like how can I when my whole life has been like turned upside down? It's like so frustrating. I just like wish there were more understanding and support for people who have gone through like traumatic experiences, you know? It's not just a simple get over it situation. It's like a long and like difficult road to healing, and like having to face that alone is like the scariest thing ever. People need to like be more compassionate and empathetic toward those who have been through such like horrendous things. The lack of support and understanding for victims of war crimes is a huge issue that needs to be addressed. It's like not fair that we have to like suffer in silence and pretend like everything is okay. We need to like open up more conversations about this and like work toward a more compassionate and supportive society for all those who have been through such like unimaginable experiences.
Totally uncool to judge if someone is being trafficked just based on how they look. Don't be so like superficial. Traffickers can totally manipulate their victims into faking smiles and pretending everything is okay. It's like messed up to think that way. We need to open our eyes and our hearts to the reality of human trafficking and not rely on like appearances to demonstrate or determine if someone is suffering. Let's support organizations that like work to combat human trafficking organizations, human trafficking, and inform ourselves on the signs to like help those in need. It's time to like stop judging a book by its cover and start making a real difference in people's lives. So child trafficking can totally affect a person's accent for sure. When a child is like taken away from their home and forced into like a whole new environment where they have to like adapt to survive, it can like totally impact their speech patterns, you know? The stress and trauma of being trafficked can like cause some kids to like have trouble communicating or like picking up new accents as a coping mechanism. It's like so sad that something as like horrible as child trafficking can like even have this kind of effect on someone. Yeah, my family trafficked me. Basically, trafficking is like pressuring you to sign contracts, move in with them, and then like exploiting you or your children. And that's exactly what happened to me. Word to the wise, if you have to sign any contracts with somebody who claims that they love you and are just wanting to help, that's a major red flag for human trafficking. And get this, on top of all of that, I had to sign a debt contract. Like, that is so beyond not cool. If you like are helping somebody, you're helping someone. If you're not, you're not. Signing a contract is like manipulation and control to the max. Just because a family is like rich doesn't mean they can't be involved in trafficking. It's totally messed up to think that way. Trafficking can happen in like any social circle, regardless of like wealth or status. We need to like be aware and not like judge based on appearances. It's like super important to look beyond just the surface because like anyone could be a trafficker, no matter how rich or fancy they seem. Just because someone doesn't like looked like they're being forced into it doesn't mean they aren't a victim of human trafficking. Trafficking can happen to anyone. Spread love and compassion rather than judgment and ignorance. Human trafficking doesn't just mean like being forced into like physical labor or sex work. It's also about like controlling someone through threats, coercion, and deceit, which seems to be like exactly what's happening all around me. My family is like totally taking advantage of me and manipulating me into doing things against my will. And I deserve better than that. It's like messed up to think that just because someone's rich, they couldn't be traffickers. Like money doesn't automatically make someone good or like immune to doing bad things. People need to understand that trafficking can happen like literally anywhere, regardless of someone's wealth. We shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Look beyond the surface and like recognize that anyone, regardless of their status, could be involved in such like terrible activities. Child trafficking can hella affect a person's accent and stuff. When someone is trafficked at a young age, they might be forced to live in a different region or country where they'd have to like adapt their way of speaking to fit in. It's like a survival thing, you know? Plus, being around different people who speak like differently can totally change how you talk. And like, if these kiddos are being abused or have to hide their identity, they might change their accent to like keep themselves safe. It's all about like adjusting to their situation, you know? Trafficking messes with a person's whole life, including how they like talk and present themselves. Like it's not just physical or emotional stuff, but also how they like communicate with the world. And it's like so sad and unfair, but it's like important to, you know, raise awareness and help these victims. Money doesn't automatically make someone good or like immune to doing bad things.